Let's talk about efficiency, shall we? Yes, because in this episode of The Next Step, we're going to take the same process I'm going to teach you and show you how to run it two different ways for two very different purposes to double the value. That's efficiency, my friends. That's what we're going to do this week on The Next Step. Hey, I'm James Ellis. This is my show. This is my thing. I do this every week where I try and teach talent acquisition, employer branders, TA leaders one quick trip on how to use AI today so that they can get better. Not these big 5 and 6,000 or 5-6 figure tool sets that are going to take over your life and force you into AI the way they want you to do it. No, I'm talking about using the amazing tool sets that are sitting on the shelf right now so that you can do your work way better, way more effectively, more creatively, more interestingly, and more valuably. Why? Because I want to make sure you keep your job, and I want to make sure you are showing your company exactly how insanely valuable you are to their growth. So let's jump into it. I got to do the couple of messages. First off, one, there's no sponsors here. I don't get sponsored. I don't get paid. This is not because some company says you should talk about AI because we want you to talk about AI. And let's be fair, I'm a little miffed that no one has offered me money. There's all pile of AI money out there. Where's my piece of where's my chunk of change? Where's my slice of the pie? So if you're working for a big AI company and you'd like to give me some money just because I'm wonderful and getting everybody excited about AI, let's talk. If not, okay, that's fine. This is just a non-sponsored podcast. So if I'm talking about tool sets and I'm talking about tactics, it's because I'm using them, I'm enjoying them, I'm leveraging them, I'm experiencing them, and I think you would too. I think you'd get a lot of value out of it. That's really why I'm sharing it. 2, be sure to subscribe to employerbrandheadlines.substack.com. That is the way you get alerted to new episodes of The Next Step. Don't ask why it's a different URL. Substack doesn't like me to change those things. Here we are. This is life. What are you going to do? But I want to make it clear that if you are subscribed, you will get early access to 2 big ideas coming down the pipe. Because this is where I'm recording this August 22nd. And, Labor Day is in like a week and a half. And we all know that Labor Day is like the starting gun of TA budgeting season, right? That's when stuff starts to get real. I want to make sure you are aware of 2 very cool tools that I'm launching. The first is a completely rethought, completely revamped employer brand resources page. This is thousands of articles and podcasts and videos and books and courses designed to help you think better about employer brand. So I'm going to let you know where that is in a week or 2 once I'm ready to roll it out. And if you're subscribed, you will be among the first to know. 2, again, because it's coming up on budget season, you know what? I think you're probably thinking about employer brand. I know I am, but then again, I'm a little biased. But if you're thinking about employer brand and you're trying to figure out how do I pick who to hire, who can help me, they all kind of sound the same, which has its own problems, separate. I built a buyer's guide listing as many employer brand agencies I could in their own words to give you a side-by-side, apples-to-apples comparison of what they offer, what they do, what their approach is, and why you might want to choose them over everybody else. Because it turns out that Exactio and Employera and 33 are different companies. They offer different ways of doing things. It's not always obvious to someone who doesn't do it all day. So I want to make it pretty clear why you should pick a given company over the other. So that's coming, the Employer Brand Buyer's Guide. It's been out for 2 years. I'm doing a full revamp. I got a whole new slew of companies, a whole new design, the whole new stuff. I will let you know as soon as it is available for you to get access to. So again, check out employerbrandheadlines.substack.com to get updated early. Okay, enough with the blah, blah, blah. Let's get into the real stuff. So we've talked before about the power of using LinkedIn to scrape someone's profile, to do an export of their profile so that you can target your audiences. And I think we talked about it primarily in terms of how to email them and write better subject lines and write better CRM messaging, drip campaigns and stuff for them. That's all well and good. You should do stuff like that. This is useful stuff. However, that's not the only way you can use that kind of resource. Picture it. Spain, 1983. No, I'm kidding. Suddenly it's a Golden Girls reference, right? Palermo, 1931, right? I'm not going to do that. Anyway, 3 people got that joke. Thank you. You're old. Anyway, picture it. You're in that room talking about your new career site. Maybe you're buying a tool. Maybe you bought a tool. Maybe you're buying a platform. Maybe it's just time to do a cleanup. Maybe it's time to do a refresh. And it's a big room. You got a lot of people in that room, including the hippo. That's right, the hippo, the highest paid person's opinion, the person who gets paid more than all of you combined, and it's probably a him, because it's always a him, whatever. And They don't really know recruiting and they don't really know employer branding, but they've got opinions, and boy, howdy, are they going to share them. And because they're the highest paid person's opinion, the hippo tends to get the hippo's way. And there's really not much you can do about that, right? You're just a recruiter, a recruiting leader. You're way less paid. You're way less valuable to the company, and consequently, you have less influence and sway. Let's fix that. Well, maybe not fix, but let's certainly arm you better so that you can come up to these tables and not have to accept any old compromise or any old crazy demands the hippo makes of you. So here's what you do. Go find, let's say 5, and 5 is a nice safe number. Go more, go less. I don't know, you'll see, you'll figure it out for yourself. You're smart. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You're going to go find 5 target profiles on LinkedIn, people who you would love to hire, people who in a whole other different universe would already work for you and love working for you. These are the people who are the perfect targets for everything you're doing. And you want to make sure that they're the kind of people who have pretty well fleshed out LinkedIn profiles, right? They list all their jobs for the last 5, 10, 20 years. They describe what they do in the job. Maybe they've added some posts, whatever. They've got nice fleshed out posts. And you hit export post, and you make a little PDF of their entire profile. What you do, one at a time, is you say, okay, ChatGPT, and I use ChatGPT for this. I would say use 5 thinking or O3, and the nomenclature sucks. And OpenAI, get your act together. None of us understand this, okay? None of us get this. So please straighten this out. Okay. Either use O3, which was the last really smart, thoughtful model, or Thinking 5, which is the current thinking model, which some people have issues with. I haven't had any issues with it, so I'm happy to recommend it. And say, this is a target person we would love to hire, and this is their entire LinkedIn profile. And this, and you post either the URL of your current career site or the working copy doc of your career site. You upload that and say, this is our career site. Please identify what messages are going to clearly resonate with this target and what messages are not. And if you want to take it a step further, and I recommend that you do, you say, what messages would they need to see that we haven't addressed yet? So you've got 3 answers. What are we saying that they're going to like? What are we saying that they're not going to like? What are we forgetting to say? Now, this goes even better if not only if you grab their LinkedIn profile, but you've gone to Appify and used an actor that scrapes their last 50 LinkedIn posts, that, just to get more than their corporate, hey, this is where I worked at blah, 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 and this is what I did, but more of their actual posts and their content, something that gives a little more personality, gives a little more, flavor of who they are. That makes this way more powerful. And you can export their entire library of LinkedIn posts into a simple table and upload that as well and say, this is what they talk about. You do that for 4 or 5 or 6 target audiences and label them as such. This is our senior manager role. This is our sales, entry-level sales role. This is our whatever role. And you can say, boom, boom, boom. These are the people we're trying to hire a lot of. Here's our career site. Here's what's working and here's not what's working. This is an objective viewpoint. This pulls the conversation from I like this versus I like that, which is really where a lot of this is because there's not a lot of data floating around like that. The hippo will say, I like blue. And then guess what? You enjoy blue. I like this font. Who cares if it's not in the brand standards? Whatever. They get what they want. Hippos make me crazy. But this matrix of here's the audiences where we've already agreed that are critical for our business's success. Here are the messages that we're saying that are useful. Here's what's not useful. And here's what we're not saying. Suddenly puts you in a driver's seat. It gives you a lot more power in influencing that conversation. You've got better objective data about what's working and what's not. That is super, super powerful. Now, will it completely kill the hippo? No, you've got to get the whole tribe together and, set a trap and all that stuff, but that's really neither here nor there. And that just may be a National Geographic movie. But it definitely arms you. It definitely puts you in the power seat to kind of say, no, we're trying to achieve something here. We're not just making pretty pictures, folks. We are trying to achieve business goals by hiring target audiences like A, B, C, D, and E, right? That's powerful stuff. Okay, let's take that same idea and flip it around. What if we take the target audience or take the profile of a candidate we'd love to talk to, we'd love to engage, we're actively trying to poach the heck out of them. And again, if you want to use Appify to scrape their post, that'd be great too. But you're going to scrape their profile. And then instead of showing them your career site, you're going to show them their career site. You're going to show them their career site, their About Us page, their news articles, anything that you can grab and dump into a Word doc and the ChatGPT likes Word docs. I don't know. He reads it easier. Anyway, and you dump it all in one spot and you say, okay, ChatGPT, this is a target I'm trying to talk to. They work at that company. Here are all the messages they're seeing from that company. Please identify common messages that they are being surrounded by that perhaps may not be true, may not be useful, may not be valuable. You could say it in a different way. You could say, these are the messages this employee is seeing every day. Which messages are likely not applicable to this audience or not true to this audience? What you're trying to do is say, look, I want to build an email so I can target that person and say, I know that you work at a company that talks about empowerment, blah, 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 all the time. Do you feel empowered? Because that is just brutal. From an outreach message, that is brutal. That is a knife in the gut. That is fantastic. That is eye-catching and interesting and engaging and creative and curious, and it creates tension and it doesn't let it go. It makes that person want to say, oh, I got to learn more. I want to get, I wish I had more empowerment. It's a bunch of garbage this company is talking about. They say all sorts of nonsense to the world, but that's not what they mean. And let's be fair, most companies are guilty of that. So it's not like you have to go out on a limb here. Now, is this a scientific process? No, it's not. No, it's really not. But if going through this process gets you to write a way more different LinkedIn outreach email than I saw your profile on LinkedIn and was really impressed. Would you be interested in talking about this role I have? Because that doesn't work. But I get it. It's like a default message. It's too easy. It's right there. You kind of can't walk away from it. You might as well use it if it's sitting right there, right? Don't. This is a process that will help give you a message that is so different that even if it's a swing and a miss, it doesn't matter. It's going to connect so much more often on such a much deeper level than the usual garbage LinkedIn stuff, makes you post, right? This is how you create truly compelling messages that connect, that spark resonance, that maybe even build relationships. It says you understand their world. You see what they're faced with. You see what they're being told. Is it true? Because I might be able to help you get what you want. And that puts the recruiter in the driver's seat. Same model, grabbing the LinkedIn profile and the Appify content around them, because I'm just using Appify to scrape that person's profile and saying, does this resonate with the audience we're trying to reach? Or what messages can I send this audience that they might see as useful because it's not what they're getting currently? All right. If this was useful, this twofer episode, if this was useful, you know the deal. You got to let people know. You got to post this on LinkedIn. You got to take the email and share it with somebody in your network. You got to say something nice on LinkedIn, click likes, click comments, YouTube, podcast, whatever it is. You got to share it. You got to let people know, because this is a whole model designed to make sure that you are seen as the expert you actually are. Look, the world for recruiters and TA leaders is rough out there. Employer branders, just as bad. There are a lot of smart people looking for work. There's not enough jobs out there for what we're doing, and it's making it very hard for you to do great work because you're scared. You want to hunker down. I want to help you use AI to show how insanely valuable you are, not to your task, but to business growth, that you're thinking creatively, you're trying new things, you're open to new ideas, you're open to new technology, and it's cheap technology. Don't discount that. And that you are pushing the envelope. That is the position I want you to be, because that's how you're going to thrive. That's how you're going to keep your job. And that's how you're going to elevate your work to leadership. So if this is a good episode, you got to share it to let people know. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Don't forget to subscribe, employerbrandheadlines.substack.com, so you can get episodes, notifications of episodes, and other stuff that's coming down the pipe. So thanks so much for listening, and I will see you next week.